It's currently Pet Wellness Month. Now, in my opinion, wellness revolves around being proactive rather than reactive. So that means really taking care of your birds before there's an issue. So not just waiting for something to happen, trying to set the environment up for them to be as healthy as possible. So today I'm going to show you some things that you can do to keep your birds happy and healthy for longer and really think about their wellness when it comes to their overall husbandry. Today's video has very kindly been sponsored by our friends over at Northern Parrots, who have supplied all of these products to show you today that you can add into your routine to keep your birds happy and healthy. If you sign up to the Northern Parrots newsletter, you can get 10% off your first order, and you can get our range of best behaved birds foods direct from their website as well. So if you're doing an order already from Northern Parrots, you can add on some of our blends. I did a post kind of on this topic recently on Instagram, YouTube community and TikTok as well, talking about things that your bird needs every single day. Now, there are a variety of things that your bird needs every single day, but I did simplify it into that post just to make it a bit more digestible, so to speak. So thinking about keeping the environment clean, feeding a good diet, cleaning your bird's bowls every day, like actually washing them up. Not just putting new food into already used bowls or not washing up their water bowls and that kind of thing. Exercise is another massive one, social interactions. But there are other things that you can add into your bird's care routine as well, which we do here at BirdNerd HQ. Everything that you see in this video is things that we actually use with our flock. Feeding your birds a healthy diet is so important for their overall wellness. Giving good foods into them really supports their body and keeps them healthy. And if you're feeding a not so great diet, then that can impact things long term. So we want to be proactive in giving our birds variety and diversity. So no matter what kind of diet you want to feed your bird, whether that includes pellets or not, whether you want to go down the raw whole food nutrition like we do, we want to be thinking about diversity and variety with all the other things that you add into your bird's diet. And how can you do that? Well, of course, you can go and check out our range of healthy parrot foods at Best Behaved Birds. Yes, we do have our own foods. Yes, I'm going to keep talking about it because I'm really proud of what we've created here. We have loads of different blends and they are available on Northern Parrots. These are probably the two most popular. These always end up going out of stock. So on our last restock, we did an absolutely humongous restock of these two. So then we've got the healthy seed and grain mix, and then we've got the vegetable garden. Now, of course, seed should not be primarily all of your bird's diet. That would not be a healthy diet, but some seed in your bird's diet is actually very healthy. Now, our seed and grain mix has a variety of healthy things in there. We haven't just gone, oh, let's chuck some seeds in there and call it a seed mix. Every single ingredient that we've put into this mix has a purpose. It's not just that we've gone out and picked a load of random stuff and chucked it together. Every single thing has a reason, whether that is a good source of protein, a source of carbohydrates, milk thistle seed for liver health as well. So there's lots of yummies in here. We feed this to our own flock and we have for a long time. So we thought, why not make it accessible to you guys as well? And then the other one that's really popular is our veggie garden. So this doesn't have any seeds or anything like that in it at all. It is purely vegetables, flowers and herb kind of products in there. So it's a really nice topper if you want to add some more diversity in your bird's diet when it comes to these kind of more healthier foods like your vegetables and things. Again, a really popular one. All of the ingredients, everything on our site is stuff that we feed our own birds. There would be no point us selling it if we didn't, have our tried and tested little beaks telling us it was a good idea. So we have lots and lots of products in the range to suit a variety of birds, so do go and check them out either on our store or on Northern Parrots as well. Now, in order to encourage wellness with our parrots, we also want to make sure that we are keeping their environment clean as well. Now, that means not letting poop pile up on perches to the point where it dries and it's just this big poopy perch and you're like, oh, how am I going to get this off? If you see poop on there, clean it off on the day. Don't just wait till your usual clean out day, because that is going to make it a really tough job, but also your bird is just going to be around poops for longer and that's not very clean. So we want to be being proactive with our cleaning, clean up mess as we see it, because we know that parrots poop roughly every 15 minutes. They are messy animals. They fling food everywhere. They fling toy pots everywhere. So we need to make sure that we're keeping on top of the cleanliness in their environment. Now, our cleaner of choice is F10. You can get the concentrated versions or you can get, ready-made ones. We already have these kind of bottles, and then when they run out we add the concentrated version in there, fill it up with water, and then we can use these bottles for a really long time, which is very good for us. And also the concentrated version is actually really affordable over long term when you actually work out the price per bottle as well. F10 is a veterinary disinfectant. It is safe for birds and other pets as well, and we really like this. We've been using this for a long time. I've used it in places of work when I have been a zookeeper, and this is an excellent one to use because it does get rid of bacteria, viruses, fungi and everything. You just need to make sure it's at the right dilution, and then it's safe to use around your birds. Now, you don't want to use it on your birds, absolutely don't do that, but in their environment, whether that's on their perches or in the cage or anything like that, when you're doing your usual cleaning for them, this is great to do. It's great to use when you're cleaning up after poops as well. And actually, this is what we use to clean our whole house. As we know, typical disinfectants that you'd find in the supermarket, they're not safe to use around parrots because they contain lots of different chemicals, they have lots of different scents and things like that. That's not good for your birds. Whereas we can use this around our house as a surface cleaner, clean the bathroom, you can clean anything you like really with the F10. It is very safe to use around your birds as long as you're using it at the right dilution. So highly recommend that if you're looking for a bird safe cleaner in your house that is tried and tested and has a lot of science behind it as well. Something we've spoken about a lot on the channel is the gut microbiome and how important it is for that with all the different body systems and how they're all interlinked. Even mental health is so closely linked to your gut microbiome and the good bacteria that flourish in there. Now, if you're feeding a nice raw whole food diet, you're going to be getting loads of good bacteria in there, loads of pre and probiotics from these natural foods, which is going to feed and encourage these good bacteria to keep your birds healthy. But sometimes it's also good just to give your birds a little boost as well with bird safe probiotics. Now, we have two that we use here at BirdNerd HQ. We have AviPro. We also have Potent Brew. It's got a sticker over it, but this is Potent Brew. So AviPro is one that you would sprinkle over wet food and it kind of gets absorbed into the wet food. This has a couple of different vitamins in, but it is mostly a probiotic, which is used by a lot of zoo collections as well. It is a very highly regarded one from VetArc. And then we have the Potent Brew, and this is from the Bird Care Company. I've used this quite a few times as well. Difference with this one, so this one is like a freeze-dried probiotic. This one is a live probiotic. So this is one that once you open it needs to be stored in the fridge, and it has kind of a shorter shelf life, but actually I really like the fact that it has kind of live bacteria in there. So I tend to put this in the drinking water of our birds. They have no problem drinking it at all, and I like to have the variety. I'm not using it, you know, every day or anything like that. I'll use it maybe once, maybe twice a week, and if anyone is poorly or anything, we may increase that too. It's also good to offer probiotics if your bird is ever taking antibiotics, because antibiotics are getting rid of all the bacteria in there, whether it's good or bad, and this can help to kind of rebuild the good bacteria in your bird's gut. So I highly recommend having some kind of probiotic on hand for your birds. Foot health is one of those things where we tend to be quite reactive to it. If we see a graze or if we see some of bumblefoot arising, we're like, what do we do now? When actually we could rewind all the way back to how we're setting up our perches in our birds' cages and what perches we're using. Now, unless you are a new kind of bird owner, you probably know that we really shouldn't be using many dowels, if any at all, in our birds' cages. When you have really smooth perches that are the same texture and width all the way along, it does create a lot of friction on your bird's feet, and also it just rubs and it creates blisters, and that can end up into bumblefoot, which is really quite serious. So what we want to do is offer lots of different perching options for our birds to keep their feet nice and healthy. And one of the things that we like to do is offer these Back Zoo Nature cork perches. Now, don't be alarmed if you see this stuff. This is lichen, it comes on with the perches, it is safe, but when I do use any perches like this, I tend to scrub them under hot water with dish soap anyway, so I tend to end up scrubbing the lichen off. You can put it in there if you wanted to, like that, but yeah, don't be alarmed if you see that, because I know a lot of people do. But I love cork perches for my birds. I can't get enough of them. Why? Because they love to strip the bark off of them. It's such a natural behaviour for them, and it's something that they don't always get to do in our homes with different types of perches that we offer. So there's loads of different kinds of the cork perches on the Northern Parrot site. I've got this one at the moment. They do sometimes go out of stock because they're so popular, probably because of me, because I keep buying them all. But these, if you're going to get any kind of extra perch for your bird's cage, if you're ever thinking, oh, what new perch can I get for your birds, get cork perches. I can't stress that enough, because they are so much fun for your birds. All of ours love to shred them and really get involved with them. So highly recommend having cork perches in your bird's cage to really keep their foot health in tip-top condition. Foraging is also something that I can't stop talking about, because it is so important for your bird's physical and mental well-being. Having them search for food, look for food, exercise while they're doing it, really think and problem solve, is one of the key factors for keeping your birds happy and healthy. They need to be able to forage for their food. Always offering food in bowls and never having them actually try and look for anything is not great for them. They have evolved to search for their food for 50 to 70% of their day in the wild. And in our homes, if we're not offering some of these opportunities, it is a really missed trick for us to actually keep them busy and active. And a busy bird is less likely to be screaming and biting and doing other undesirable behaviours. So we have these really cool platform perches from northern parrots. They have these kind of grooves dug into them with a drill. So there's about 8 holes on this one. There's also a smaller version as well. And you can hide little treats in there, and they can go on this little perch and they can have a little look. All of our birds love these perches, honestly. We just love this style of perch where there's little kind of grooves and divots and holes and things where you can hide treats in there. And this is Olive and Charlie enjoying their one. This was the first time I put it in. I put some little treats in there. They went straight down. They're like, what's all this? What can I find in here? And this is a really, really great one to do. You can even put crinkle paper over it if you wanted to, or other little bits to make it a little bit harder, maybe some dried flowers as well. But I highly recommend having other foraging opportunities in your bird's cage and having platform perches as well, which is great for their foot health. Now we are coming into winter in the northern hemisphere, so the days are getting darker, it's getting cold outside, so unless your bird lives permanently outside in an aviary, it is a bit trickier to kind of get them outside to get any kind of sunshine. And if you live in the UK, it's even harder because we just don't get any sunshine. So we do recommend having a UV lamp where possible in your homes. I did a video showing the Arcadia Pure Sun middies, which we use on our cages, just to give them that little boost when it comes to this time of year. If you can't get your birds out as often as you would like, you do need to obviously be careful about how you set them up and that kind of thing, but the Arcadia ones are our brand of choice and we think that they are awesome. If for any reason you are unsure of using UV lights, or you want to make sure that your birds are getting the right amount of calcium and D3, you can use a supplement. Now we're not huge on supplements as a whole. We really carefully select the ones that we offer. We do have some natural supplements on our store which are all whole foods, but when it comes to calcium and D3, it is really crucial because it is so involved in a variety of bodily processes, whether that's bone health, feather growth, their mental well-being as well. So you can use the UV lamps, and in conjunction with that you can also use a calcium and D3 supplement. Now I will say that if your bird is on a very heavily pelleted diet, so a predominantly pelleted diet, I wouldn't recommend using any supplements because then you can over supplement your bird. But if your bird has limited pellets, or if they're on a raw whole food diet, it's a lot safer to use these kinds of things. But of course, if you're ever unsure, you can go and speak to your avian vet. But you can use ones like Zocal D, and there's also Calcivet as well. These are liquid calcium supplements. I think you can get powdered ones as well, but I prefer the liquid ones. And this is something that we use maybe once every week, once every 2 weeks, just to give our birds that little boost. But we do use the UV lamps as well. So do really think about that. Again, if you're ever unsure, do talk to your avian vet about what they would recommend. Ideally, we'd all have our birds outside, but not everybody has that opportunity. So this can be something just to help your birds, especially through the winter months, to make sure that they are getting the calcium and D3 that they need. Let me know your proactive tips for parrot wellness down in the comments, and don't forget to check out Northern Parrots as well, and big thanks for them for sponsoring today's video. But from me and Cuddly Pickles and Scampi, take care and we'll see you in the next one.